Hello everybody, and welcome to our presentation on emerging adulthood. This is our case study documentary for the course of lifespan psychology. First of all, we will start out by introducing the three famous lifespan theories that our case study focuses on. These three theories include Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory, Erikson's psychological stage theory, and Piaget's cognitive stage theory. The Bronfenbrenner theory was created by Yuri Bronfenbrenner, a Russian-American psychologist. He was born April 29, 1917, and passed September 25, 2005. He received his BA in psychology and music from Cornell, his master's in education, and doctorates in developmental psychology. After receiving his doctorate, he entered the U.S. military to serve as a psychologist during World War II. He married his wife, Lise Price, and went on to have 6 children. Bronfenbrenner wrote over 300 research papers and 14 books. He achieved the title of Jacob Gold Sherman Professor Emeritus of Human Development at Cornell University. Bronfenbrenner created one of the most popular ecological theories of all time. A popular quote: "Every child needs at least one adult who is irrationally crazy about him or her." The ecological system views children's development as a complex system of relationships affected by multiple levels of the surrounding environment. In simple terms, the theory views human development based off the interactions between an individual and their environment. The theory is made up of 5 systems: the microsystem, mesosystem, exosystem, macrosystem, and chronosystem. The systems are known as the factors, starting with individual, the details who make you, you, your sex, age, and race. The first system is microsystem. How do your family and friends shape you? Second, mesosystem. How does your network influence you? Third, exosystem. How do school, media, and religious views shape you? Fourth, macrosystem. Do you have beliefs or a culture that makes you who you are? And lastly, has something life-changing happened to you? This could be a traumatic event or an extremely positive one. This is where we are introduced to Erikson. Erik Erikson was a Danish, German-American child psychoanalyst who is known for his famous theories on psychosocial development. He was born in June 1902 and died May 1994. In his life, he won 2 awards, which included the Pulitzer Prize and the National Book Award. Before Erikson was a psychoanalyst, he was an artist who spent years in Europe. He became an art teacher for a school that was founded by none other than Anna Freud, and this is where he was introduced to the idea of psychoanalysis. Eventually, he embarked on psychoanalytic training at the Vienna Psychoanalytic Institute. He never received a formal degree in psychology, but despite this, he became a prominent figure in the subject. Erikson's most famous theory, and the one our documentary chooses to focus the most on, is his psychosocial stage theory. This theory focuses on 8 different stages of psychosocial development, from infancy all the way to late adulthood. Within every stage, a person faces a conflict between 2 opposing sides, and this is what shapes someone's personality. Erikson was influenced by Freud, but expanded it to fit his own psychoanalytic ideas. The 8 stages of his theory are very complex, and the psychosocial crisis that we all go through within each stage develops our sense of self and our relationship with others. Each stage affects us in a different way, but it sticks with us throughout the entirety of our lives. The very first stage influences the security and confidence we feel in the world around us, and the very last stage helps us determine if the life we lived was worth it or not. The first stage occurs in infancy, and this is trust versus mistrust. The second stage in early childhood is autonomy versus shame and doubt. Around preschool age, children face the questions of initiative versus guilt. Around elementary school, the question becomes industry versus inferiority. In adolescence, it becomes identity versus role confusion. Young adulthood, the question is intimacy versus isolation. And this transcends into adulthood, where the question is generativity versus stagnation. The final stage occurs in late adulthood, which is integrity versus despair. All these stages have a correct or more positive answer, but this is for the child or person to understand on their own. In this presentation, we focus on the stage of emerging adulthood. Erikson's stage that applies most to young adulthood is intimacy versus isolation. But you will see in our study how every single stage has lasting effects on a person's development and understanding of life. Jean Piaget was one of the most influential researchers of his time in developmental psychology. He originally studied biology and philosophy, but later focused on learning how children learned through their development in the study of knowledge. He went on to get a PhD from the University of Neuchâtel. First, let us confirm we understand cognitive development. Cognitive development is the developmental process to be able to think and reason. Jean Piaget found that there are 4 stages of cognitive development. The first stage is the sensory motor stage, which accounts for newborns to the age of 2. Which sensory experiences will we understand? The second stage is the pre-operational stage, which will be from 2 to 7 years old, and they learn best by words and images. The third stage should happen from 7 to 12 years old and is called concrete operational stage. These children will have difficulties with abstract thinking, but are still becoming more advanced. They will learn best by being hands-on. The last and longest stage is from 12 years old and on. The formal operational stage means more abstract thinking, problem-solving, reasoning, and systematic planning. And from this is where we introduce our wonderful subject.
This is a PowerPoint presentation about our client Kaviana Demetria Wilson, also known as KK. She is now 24 years old and is my gorgeous younger sister. She is the second youngest out of all 8 of her siblings, but from our mother's side it has only been me and her. We are 8 years apart, and she has always been thought of as my first baby, even though she is not a baby anymore. KK has always been a very energetic, goofy, and beautiful soul, always on the move and busy doing something. KK has grown up in a single-parent home, but has always tried to keep a close relationship with both parents, even though she struggles to balance with quality time because she is currently working 2 jobs. Her day job is a teacher's assistant at a preschool, and her evening job is as a registered behavior tech working with children with autism. She has also just signed up to go back to school and become an occupational therapy assistant. KK currently lives on her own.
This study was done to monitor her in her natural state, work or with friends and family, but because she is very busy and it was her only day off, she was only able to go through with her interview as she waited for her boyfriend to finish up a meeting. She answered all of the questions outside. During this stage of emerging adulthood, they often focus more on themselves and their personal development and their goals, so it's not new to have to catch up with her while she's busy. Despite her busy life, she still keeps a happy persona.
Emerging adulthood. What are your career goals?
My career goals are. Did you hear me?
No. Can you say that again?
Oh, let me. Okay, can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My career goals are to be an occupational therapy assistant.
Do you have any religious beliefs?
Christian.
What kind of things make you upset?
Things that make me upset are dishonesty. Dishonesty, I'll say having to repeat myself. And from off the top of my head, I think I'm sure there's more, but pretty much it.
Do you have hobbies or interests?
One of my hobbies are cooking and baking. Another one, my interest will be dancing.
Do you consider yourself to be a generally happy person?
I'd say so.
How do you
I'd say so.
How do you feel about making tough decisions?
I feel like I can make tough decisions, especially like in the work field that I work in. Making decisions every single day, and especially tough ones at times, have been pretty easy for me.
Do you make your own meals? Do your own laundry? And all that other stuff, house stuff?
Majority of the time, yes, I make my own meals. And laundry and all household needs, yes, I do.
What do you enjoy doing on your free time?
I'd say hanging out with friends and family and baking and cooking when I have the chance to. Oh, and planting or gardening, I should say.
Do you live alone?
Yes, I do.
Do you smoke?
Yes, I do.
Would you describe yourself as a messy or organized?
Uh-oh. Oh, my phone froze.
Would you describe yourself as messy or organized?
There's no in between, huh? I'd say I'm a messy organizer.
Do you Okay. Do you favor your mother or your father?
Ooh, that's a good. You asking in between questions. I'd say yes, yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Can you repeat that?
I would say in look I favor my dad.
Okay.
In attitude, I favor my mother.
Okay. Okay. Are you able to have mature, intimate relationships?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you have any hobbies that you like? You did say dancing and working out. So is that mean dancing? Is it working out or just dancing?
Dancing and I would say you said hobbies.
Yeah, your hobbies.
I would say like planting
Okay.
because I do like to, and I'm gonna get into it more. I just don't have free time all the time.
How has family played a role in your life?
I would say family plays a big role, especially like when I'm not working. I try to like it sucks to say schedule time basically. When there are like birthday parties or like going out to eat, I try to make like my family time just family time, not being on the phone and everything.
How have your parents influenced your choices in life?
I'll say both are really supportive and they both understand that I'm independent.
Did COVID affect your or influence your path in life and work and or school?
I want to say yes because when during COVID, I was in culinary school, but I didn't finish due to culinary school being online, and I feel like it pushed me to go the path of still being in the occupation that I'm in, which is DSP, and that's what made me search into occupational therapy assistant. So I'll say yeah, in a way.
How has social media affected your choices in like school or career?
I see sometimes, like especially now, autism is aware more in life. I see that parents struggle with what they should and should not do. And I do see how much it can help when there's someone that does have the experience of what they should and should not do.
Does your workload affect your relationship with your family?
I would say yes, because I know that like I get calls and stuff, ask me how I'm doing or see what I'm doing, and if I work too much, sometimes I don't get to see them for a while.
How do you identify he, her, them, they?
Her.
And how old are you?
Wow, how old am I? 24.
Mm-mm.
Well, every time I get asked that question, I want to say something else.
And your ethnicity?
I'm Black.
All right, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
And your name is again?
Kaviana Wilson.
Thank you, Kaviana.
We asked the subject 5 questions to see how the interactions with the environment have shaped her. We found that when things challenge her, she will work that much harder. She has a strong and supportive group of individuals on her sideline. Microsystem. Her family influences her and pushes her to always do better. Reminds her how important family is. She makes sure when she is with her family, she is focused on them and not on her phone. Mesosystem. Her family is incredibly supportive when it comes to her career choices. They accepted her when she wanted to change from one career to another. Often she finds her workload affecting how often she gets to see her family. Macrosystem. Both her parents have influenced her choice in study by being accepting of whatever she wants to do if she is always giving 100%. Chronosystem. COVID-19 caused her culinary school to go fully online, which caused her to lose interest, but it helped her find joy in occupational therapy. Exosystem. Often, she finds herself being competitive with others in society and social media, and that makes her work that much harder. As it was mentioned before, the participant in our study is in her young adulthood stage of life. According to Erickson, this is where she faces the question of intimacy versus isolation. This is where people look for those close personal relationships in life. If a person were to lean toward intimacy, that would mean forming meaningful connections with others. If the person were to choose isolation, they develop a fear of being rejected, or they're not able to form the close personal connections that they want. From the interview, we can conclude that our participant chooses intimacy in life. She has close connections with the people around her, including her family, friends, and her boyfriend. When asked the question, "Are you able to have mature, intimate relationships?" she answered yes. She also stated that in her free time, she prefers to be with friends. This is not the only stage of Erickson's developmental theory that was observable through this interview. There were many questions that pinpointed how she developed and moved on from the past stages of her life. When the subject was in her adolescent stage, she was faced with the question of identity versus confusion. This is where she formed a sense of self and her own identity. It's clear from these questions that she's not confused about herself at all, and she knows what she wants to do with her career. She is sure of the things she believes in, like religion. She is able to live a happy life with many hobbies and interests. She is sure of who she is, and this was partly because of her adolescent stage. In elementary school, people are faced with the question of industry versus inferiority, and this is where we focus on obtaining skills and being successful in learning. If we fail at this, we feel inferior. With these questions that our subject answered, it's clear that she created a sense of industry for herself. She cooks, bakes, and gardens, all hobbies that require precise skill. In elementary school, people face the questions of initiative versus guilt. The level of encouragement we receive defines whether or not we are able to explore or are left with feelings of self-doubt. When asked how she feels about making tough decisions, our subject answered that it comes very easy to her. It's something she does daily, especially with her line of work. She's able to take initiative, which means we are able to assume that she received the right level of encouragement in this stage of life. Finally, in toddlerhood, we are faced with the question of autonomy versus shame, and this is where we begin to understand ourselves and our own identity. We develop a feeling of autonomy and self-expression. But when we are deprived of this pleasure, we create feelings of shame and doubt in ourselves. When asked if she does basic chores fully on her own, like cooking and doing the laundry, our subject answers that yes, she does. This is just one way in which she explores her independence with herself. With Erickson's theory of psychological development, we are able to see how the stages of life affect an individual. Our subject today is only emerging adulthood, so she is not done with her development. But it's interesting to see how she is still developing with the idea of intimacy versus isolation. and how her past stages affected her sense of self today. Finally, we talk about how this interview connects with Piaget's development theory. She can make abstract and logical decisions at work while caring for patients. She uses systematic planning when producing a game plan to help her patient recover from an injury or improve on a skill. Since she works a lot, she is aware her time with family is limited, so she is aware she needs to be present and attentive. And with this, our documentary is concluded. Thank you, everyone.